The swings are already moving. No footsteps, no voices. But the playground outside full. Every seat, every slide, every bench crowded. Children who weren't there a moment ago all staring at you. This is an official message from the County Emergency Broadcast Service. Please remain calm and stay tuned for important safety information. Do not attempt to leave your residence until this broadcast has concluded. At approximately 12:03 a.m. tonight, multiple calls were received by emergency services regarding unusual activity at the municipal playground on Fairview Street. Witnesses described the sound of faint laughter beginning as a few scattered giggles, the kind of background noise you'd expect during a summer afternoon. But when callers looked outside their windows, they saw the entire playground filled with children, dozens of them, every swing occupied, every bench crowded, every slide lined with small figures, waiting their turn. The reports were unanimous. The children had not arrived. They had simply appeared. Local patrol units were dispatched within minutes. Upon arrival, officers attempted standard welfare checks. They shone lights across the grounds, announcing their presence and urging parents or guardians to step forward. No adults were present. The children did not acknowledge the patrol units. They continued their activities in eerie synchronization, moving in ways that imitated play but lacked spontaneity. Jump ropes slapped pavement in perfect unison. Seesaws rose and fell without hesitation, as if perfectly balanced in weight. The merry-go-round spun at a constant speed, though no hands were visible pushing it. One officer attempted verbal engagement. He asked the children their names, if they were lost, if they needed help. The nearest group of 4 stopped moving simultaneously. They turned their heads toward him with deliberate slowness, their bodies still facing forward, and smiled. Their mouths stretched wide, but no sound came out. The officer reported a strong sense of pressure in his ears, as though the air itself had tightened. Moments later, the children resumed their humming. Yes, humming. All witnesses described the same phenomenon. Each child's mouth moves constantly, not to form words, but to produce a low, droning tone. The pitch is slightly uneven, yet the rhythm is identical across all of them, carried without pause or breath. Residents nearby say the sound carries into their homes through walls, through closed windows. One caller described it as a tune you can feel in your teeth. Another said it reminded her of a nursery song she'd forgotten but could not place, and the memory itself made her nauseous. Officers attempted to disrupt the sound. Floodlights were shown directly into the group. Sirens were activated. Shouting commands were issued. The humming stopped. For 21 seconds, the playground was utterly silent. Every child froze mid-motion. Swings hung motionless. A jump rope hovered in the air, held in place as though by invisible hands. The stillness was total, too total. And then, in perfect synchronization, every head turned toward the patrol vehicles. Witnesses insist they did not blink once during this interval. When the humming resumed, the sound was louder, sharper. The chorus pressed harder against the air, rattling glass in nearby homes. At this point, officers reported visual abnormalities, teeth far, too many of them. In the dim floodlights, every child's smile revealed rows upon rows of small, identical teeth, pointed and evenly spaced from cheek to cheek. Their eyes reflected no light. Surveillance images confirm a glossy, painted quality, flat and lifeless, though the children remained active. Several officers noted that none of the children bent their limbs naturally. Ankles did not flex when they walked. Knees remained locked as their legs lifted in stiff mechanical strides. Yet their movement was smooth, coordinated. Then the dispersal began. Without any audible cue, the children began leaving the playground. Not in groups, not in chaos, in lines, neat, evenly spaced lines, peeling away from the swings, the slides, the benches. They did not look at each other. They did not look at their surroundings. They only looked forward, each one humming, each one smiling, each one taking steps of exactly the same length. They spread into the surrounding streets. Some turned corners. Some walked into fields. Some crossed roads without looking for cars, though no vehicles dared approach them. Patrol units reported their numbers thinning until the playground was empty again. What remained were the objects, toys arranged into circles on the asphalt, chalk drawings spiraling outward into nonsense symbols, and swings still moving despite the absence of wind. This incident is not isolated. Over the past 3 weeks, smaller reports have surfaced across the county. Playgrounds that seemed louder than they should at night, residents woken by the faint sound of laughter without children nearby. Equipment still moving at dawn when the grounds were locked. Tonight's event confirms that these reports are connected. Surveillance in neighboring districts has already begun to detect gatherings, always at midnight, always spreading wider. Each night, the number of children increases. We urge families not to approach any playground after dark. If you believe your child is missing, do not attempt to identify them in these gatherings. Multiple witnesses insist they saw familiar faces among the crowd's sons, daughters, classmates, but the bodies were wrong. Their proportions were stretched, torsos too long, necks too thin, mouths permanently fixed. When spoken to, they did not respond. They only smiled. They only hummed. This is not a rescue situation. These are not children. Stay indoors after midnight. Keep your windows shut. If you hear the humming, do not investigate. Do not attempt to record. Do not attempt to confirm what you hear. Looking outside has resulted in lingering symptoms, ear pain, dizziness, the inability to sleep without hearing the tune again. One witness has not stopped humming since returning home. Doctors report her lips are bleeding. Understand this warning is not temporary. It will repeat nightly until further notice. If the pattern continues, more playgrounds will fill, more children will walk outward, and eventually, their lines will reach your street. The swings are already moving, and when you finally hear them laugh, it will already be too late. End of transmission.